Look up. No more running from the bad guy. I'ma stare him in the eye like, what's up?
Hello, everyone. I am thankful and grateful to have another day to share with you guys on my 365-day challenge, my story, my strength. I know I said that backwards, but hey, healing isn't perfect, right? So I created this platform as a way to share my story and help others who want to begin their healing journey and learn how to rise without fear or without allowing that fear to prevent them from taking the next steps in their journey. Because again, fear is an emotion that we can't control. So to say without fear is not really a reasonable expectation. You can be afraid. Oops, sorry. But being afraid shouldn't stop you from doing something that's going to have a beautiful impact on your life in the end. So thank you for tuning in. And let's jump right in, okay? This is the trigger warning now. This episode contains intense, emotional, graphic content involving sibling violence, childhood neglect, medical disregard, and lasting physical injury. It explores themes of being physically harmed and emotionally invalidated by family members, with descriptions that may be distressing to survivors in domestic or childhood abuse. Please take care of yourself. Viewer discretion is advised, and pause if it becomes too heavy, or stop if you need to walk away. Your safety matters more than anything, and that is not just mentally or physically, it's emotionally as well. Okay, so you have nothing to prove. If you need to walk away, that's the bravest thing you could do for yourself. So, something that is not really rarely spoken about is sibling abuse, sibling violence. And this memory that I'm going to be addressed today brings up one of the few times that I had to face it directly. My youngest sister, she was always protected. Me and my older sister, we shielded her from our mother's rage, from the demons that she had within her. She knew my mother was an alcoholic, but we tried to kind of limit her interactions and try to make her life a little bit easier, thinking that we were being good big sisters. But she didn't feel protected. She felt overlooked, left out, and she began lashing out violently and showing anger and aggression. And no one ever really held her accountable because she's the baby, right? So one day I was asked to make dinner for the family. Not asked, I had to make dinner for the family because that's normal for me and my older sister, because we had been burdened with adult responsibilities our whole lives. I also had to practice three different instruments. I played the clarinet in the band. I played the cello and sometimes the bass and string ensemble or the orchestra. And my mom just wanted me to play the piano. We had one in our house, so she made me play the piano. She made me take private piano lessons. I said I was abused. I never said we were poor. We were comfortable, but so we did. We had a piano in the house. My mom made me learn how to play the piano. I was in ROTC, so I had to stay after school for drills. I had to stay after school for band. I had to go before school for orchestra. Like, I had a full plate, and I had to keep up with my grades because you have to have a certain grade point average to even participate in some of these activities. So I had homework. Then me and my older sister had to do our chores. We had to clean, and I had to also cook. So I was exhausted. I'm saying all this to say that as a ninth grade, 14-year-old young girl, I was exhausted. And this was one of the times I was in the home. I didn't run away. Things were safer in the home than they were in the street. So I was at home. And I decided that night I was going to make tacos, hard shell tacos, because we either eat burritos or hard shell tacos. We grew up in California, so we liked a lot of Latin food, and we would make fresh hard shell tacos from corn tortilla shells that were uncooked. But I forgot to cook the shells that day. I mean, it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't the end of the world either. I could have just went and cooked them. I made her plate, piled on everything, put the meat, all of the sides, lettuce, tomatoes, avocado, all the good fixings to go on there. I got her juice, and I brought it to her in her room because her leg was broken. She was riding a bike, and she had a compound fracture. The bone went straight through her leg. She couldn't walk. She had bolts and plates and all this other good stuff in her leg. So we took turns helping her. I didn't half-ass it. I just forgot to heat the damn shells. I forgot to fry them. She wanted her shells fried. And she just snapped. She starts yelling at me like I ruined her damn life because I forgot to cook some shells. She's calling me names, telling me stupid, telling me I'm stupid, being loud, disrespectful. So I'm 14. Of course, I yelled back at her. I told her I'm tired. Shut up. I'm tired. And I just forgot, give me your plate and I will make your shells. But she didn't care about any of that. She wanted to still yell at me and do all this stuff. And she didn't care how much I did. I told her that she could shut up or she can eat the tacos how they are. Shut up. And that's when it happened. She threw a knife at me. And I'm seeing her grab the knife. I turned around, try to go out the door. And because I didn't even see the knife sitting on her dresser. But somehow it was in the air. And then it was slicing in the bottom of my foot. And the pain was just instant and sharp. I looked down and I could see blood pouring out of my arm. So I'm limping in the living room. And after I screamed at her for stabbing me again, because that was not the first time she stabbed me. I'm just like, what the hell is wrong with you? And I'm screaming for my mom. And I went to tell her mom, but she could kill. Of course, she's already drunk. And she told me, just shut up. Just shut up. Shut the hell up. She told me that I should have remembered. You should have just remembered to cook the shell. Shut up. It's your fault. And I'm just like, okay, but I'm bleeding out of my foot. Blood is just gushing out of my foot. And she came over, like, she's inspecting it like it's like a little damn scratch, but it wasn't. And when she saw that it was actually serious, she opens this cut in my foot and blood just gushes out, just kind of pours out. And she tells me, she gives me this stuff, tells me to clean it up. And then when I clean it up, she puts a Band-Aid on it, put a sock on it, tell me to just shut up, do what I got to do for the night. I went to bed, but then when I wake up, my socks covered in blood. I got blood in my sheets, and I'm just like, okay. And I'm just in my feelings right now. And she takes me to the doctor. Finally, she decides to take me to the doctor. She's yelling at me because I have to call into work for this. Don't yell at me. Yell at your daughter. She's the one that cut me in the foot. I mean, I am your daughter, but you get the point. Yell at her. If she wouldn't have thrown a knife across the room at me, I wouldn't be bleeding out of my leg like this, or out of my foot like this. But no, she's yelling at me because she had to call into work. When he looked at it, and he looked at her straight up and said, "Why didn't you bring her into the hospital last night? She would have needed stitches because this is a really bad cut. But because you already had, it was already clotting wrong. It was something wrong. They couldn't stitch it. All they could do was kind of clean it up, put butterfly stitches on. They gave me ointment to keep it clean. They wrapped it up with an ace bandage, put another clean sock on it, and told me just to stay off of it. Except I couldn't. I still had school. I still had instruments. I still had ROTC. I still had homework. And I still had everything I had to take care of, and now on crutches because, again, my mom dropped me out at school. Because she ended up going to work, but I'm going to work late. So she made me go to school. My sister was never punished. Not even a conversation, not even a damn time out, nothing. And I still have to live with the nerve damage in my foot from that day. That knife didn't just tear into my foot. It tore a hole into the belief that someone would ever protect me because, like, you're going to allow me to be stabbed. Like, no, I'm not the abusing type, but a smack on the ass, at the very least, having your TV taken from you, some kind of punishment, but nothing. So that let me know I wasn't going to ever be protected. So the one that I had to identify with at that moment, it convinced me that my pain, once again, that was another confirmation that my pain was invisible. That even when I was physically bleeding and asking for help, I wasn't worth the concern. And I began to believe that violence against me was normal. Because by then my ribs had been broken, my nose had been broken. I had been raped more than once and nothing. So I began to believe that it was normal. And if I made one mistake, I deserve all the consequences, no matter how extreme. But let someone else do something against me, and I also have to suffer their consequences. Worse, it taught me that my family could do anything. They could hurt me, and it wouldn't matter. That love meant being blamed for your own trauma. That protection was something that I was supposed to give, not something that I deserved to receive. So I started to internalize this belief that I wasn't fragile enough to be protected, that my pain had to take a backseat to everyone else's convenience, and that's just not true. So my reflection question to you is, what messages were you taught about who deserves protection in your family, and who you were taught to believe didn't deserve protections, and that includes you. Who were you taught was the favorites, basically, and who were not the favorites? Because that's pretty much where it boils down to. Who were the most favorites? Who were the love? Even though my mom's presence been down, I was the favorite one. Actions and words, right? So the belief that I had, the negative thoughts that I had was that I am not worthy of protection. I was born in a family dynamic where my needs were treated as burdens. But that was a lie. The way I had to reframe that was a lie that came from people who were too broken to protect themselves, let alone protect me. And I'm not wrong for expecting to be cared for. I'm not wrong for needing safety. Their silence and their indifferences were not a reflection of my worth, but their inability to provide the love I deserved. So I was very much worthy of being protected. My needs were not burdens. It was just their it was them. It wasn't me. So the affirmation I have for that is I am no longer invisible. My wounds, physical, emotional, mentally, spiritually, all of my wounds matter. My voice matters, and I deserve protection without earning it, proving it, or being perfect for it. It's because I am perfect within myself. And that's just my added part. So let's go to the mini coping session. It's a guided visualization. Visualization. Ah, I swear I do have degrees. It's just that the words won't come out of my mouth. It's titled The Protector Within. This technique invites your inner child to receive the safety and validation that they never got. So I want you all to close your eyes. Close your eyes and imagine yourself at an age you were when your pain began to happen. Do you see that child? Drown out any noises that you hear and look for that child in the moment that they were hurt, confused, bleeding, ignored, whatever pain that they were in. Just see that child. Now imagine a powerful, calm, protective version of yourself stepping into that memory. You today. You walk into the room, not your mother, not your abuser, but you. You kneel down beside that younger version of you, and you speak. And you tell that younger version of you, I see your pain. I believe you. I'm here now, and I will never abandon you again. You hold that inner child, your younger self. You hold their hand. Visualize wrapping their wound with care, whatever type of wound it is. You're not fixing the past. You're reclaiming your power in it. And you can repeat this anytime you feel triggered or abandoned. You are in the safest place now because you have a way of protecting and loving your inner child. And you do it yourself. So my 1-minute empowerment challenge. Today's challenge is to identify a rule that you were taught in your family that caused you harm and break it out loud. An example, in my family, we didn't talk about our feelings. So today I'm going to name my feelings publicly. Or another one is I was told to be strong and never ask for help. But today I'm going to ask for what I need. Ask for what I need. I'm asking for what I need. Say it out loud. Post it, write it, share it. Even if your words shake, speak that rule, then break it. This is how we take our power back. Favorite part, you guys, y'all ready for this Survivor Spotlight? This is a special one. And a lot of us, I don't care what generation you are, you guys know this woman, Miss Tina Turner. Born Anna Mae Bullock in Nutbush, Tennessee. You guys got to watch the movie. I had the song. The song just popped in my head as soon as I said it. But she was born Anna Mae, and in 1939, Tina Turner grew up surrounded by abandonment, poverty, and early trauma. Her parents left her young, forcing her to grow up really fast. That little girl from the rural South would go on to become a global icon, but not before enduring one of the most brutal, publicized examples of intimate partner abuse and violence in music history. With Ike Turner, she endured 2 decades of extreme physical, emotional, and psychological abuse. Ike beat her, isolated her, and stripped her of any self-worth. Despite performing for massive audiences, she was trapped in silence, told to smile while hiding bruises and suicidal despair. She tried to take her own life in 1968, not because she was weak. Excuse me again. Oh, but because she saw no escape. But Tina Turner didn't die in her pain. In 1976, she walked out with 36 cents and a mobile gas card, determined to save herself. The industry laughed. The world doubted her, but she rebuilt her life from the ashes and from the pain. And in her album in 1984, Private Dancer catapulted from catapulted her solo stardom. And her 1960 and in her 1986 memoir, I, Tina, shattered the silence around domestic violence. Tina Turner transformed survival into resurrection. She healed through music, Buddhism, and love. And love. Her life became proof that freedom is possible, even after years of captivity. She kind of did a lot for this community. And her story is one of the greatest testaments. Her story is one of the greatest testaments to survival and to self-liberation in modern history. I'm sorry. She survived brutality cloaked in fame, narcissistic torment, and as love, and an industry that enabled her abuser while praising her voice. But she her power. She built herself from the ashes. She taught us that surviving doesn't always look graceful. It looks like crawling out of hell, finding your footing, then dancing away. Tina didn't just live, she transformed survival into sacred triumph. So Miss Tina Turner, thank you so much for surviving what so many don't. Thank you for showing us that leaving is not the end, but it is the beginning. It is the beginning. Thank you for turning pain into power, silence into sound, trauma into a roadmap for millions of survivors. You gave us more than music. You gave us proof that no matter how much they try to break you, freedom is still possible. We see you, we thank you, and we honor you. There is nothing more powerful than owning the parts of your story they try to bury. Every day you survive is another day you reclaim your voice. If this spoke to you, if this spoke to your pain, know this: you are not alone. You are not crazy, and your story does deserve to be told. And if it also spoke to you, please don't forget to subscribe to Empowered Voices Finding Strength and Survivors to hear these daily challenges, but not just that. You'll also hear my podcast, Insights of a Survivor, that airs every Friday night at 7 p.m. And you'll hear solo episodes from me, which this Friday is going to be a solo episode, but you also get to hear me interview some powerful guests that helps you understand how they turned their pain and their trauma into triumph and power. You can also join me every last Saturday of each month, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, for All Me and All Love's Raw and Real podcast. You can find that on my station, Empowered Voices Finding Strength and Survivors, where we will also discuss a more in-depth, more unapologetic, more raw story from survivors of how they healed through their trauma. And this one gets a little gutty, you guys. So I'm telling you, you need to tune in every last Saturday. And you can't miss every Sunday. We're going to be talking on my sister's show, Kiss Corner, with Coach Kiss, every Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this is where she shows how she turns her pain into power. And if you want to learn more, you can explore all of the things that I'm doing on my link tree. It's in my bio, or you can jump on my website, which is in the description. And always remember that your story does not end in pain. It begins in power. See you tomorrow for another powerful day of healing. I love you all. Stay strong.
Heard you looking for a hero. Well, look up. No more running from the bad guy. I'ma stare him in the eye like, what's up? I know the journey got hard for a minute, but I ain't giving this up. Yeah, I got the heart of a champion. If I get knocked down, I get